In this video, I will be showing you how to make a basic player shoot, as well as a basic player look script inside of Unity. This will be in 3D, and it's super simple to get started. All that I have for my actual scene is I have a capsule as a player. You can get the capsule by right-clicking inside your hierarchy, coming down to 3D object, and just clicking capsule. I've also named it to player, and then I gave the tag player to it. The ground, I just have a plane. You can use whatever you want to. And then I have 3 more capsules for the enemies. For the enemies, make sure that you give them the tag of enemy. If you do not have the tag, just come down here, click on add tag, click this plus, and then type in whatever you want, and then hit save. And then just make sure you assign it once it's done. Okay, so getting right into this, for your player, make sure that your camera is inside of your player object. And then I made a little weapon. All that I used for this was just cubes. So I literally just went to 3D object and then just shaped it into a weapon. So I have 1 cube for the barrel and then 1 cube for the handle. If you already have another object that is a weapon, you can use that as well, but for this video I'm just going to use this. And then the camera, make sure that it is inside of the player's head. And now we can get actually started with the code. So inside of your assets, just right click, create a folder, and we're just going to name this scripts. And then inside of your scripts, right click, create C# script. This one will be for the player look. And then we'll right click, create C# script. And then this one will be for the bullet. And then actually we need one more once this is done loading. Right click, create C#, and this will be hit detection. We'll use the hit detection to actually destroy the enemies as soon as our player hits, or our bullet hits the enemy. So we'll start with the player look script. So just go ahead, double click it. Give it a little bit load. Alright, and as soon as it starts, all you want to do is just remove these functions. And then we're going to make 3 floats. The first float will be for the X location. The next one will be a private float for the Y. And then the third one will be a public float. This one will be for the sensitivity. For now, we will just do -1. Whatever you put, so say you don't want 1, say you want like a 5 or whatever, just make sure that it is a negative, because the way that I'm showing you is inverted. So if you do not put a negative in front of your number, it's going to be invert look directions. And then we need a private vector 3, and we can just name this rotate. Once you have that, this next step is totally optional. All that I'm doing is basically making it so when the game starts, your cursor will be hidden and locked. If you want your cursor to show, then you can, but if not, then don't worry about it. Okay, then the next step that you need to follow along with is making the actual camera move based on your mouse position. So we're going to do Y is equal to input get access, and then this will be mouse Y. And then we're going to do the same thing, but for X. So instead of mouse Y, we'll just do mouse X. And then for our vector 3, we just need to make it equal a new vector 3, which will be our Y and our X locations time the sensitivity. And then for the Z, we'll just do 0. And then we just need to make sure that we're actually transforming it so that it actually does move and isn't just standing still. So we use Euler angles. and then that would be minus the rotation. So that's pretty much all that you need to do for the player look. If we go back to Unity, let it load, and just drag this player look script on top of your player. So now if you click on player, it should be here. Another way you can do it is just click on add component and then type whatever it is. So player look, if you didn't know. So now the next thing we will do is create our bullet. Same thing, all you want to do is remove these two, and we'll just get right into this. The first thing that we will need is a public transform. This transform will be for the barrel. And then we also need a public game object, and then this will be for the bullet. We'll just name this bullet prefab. And then for the bullet, we need to make sure that we are applying force when we are shooting. The higher this number, the further the bullet will travel before it falls to the ground. So in order to do that, we will need a public float. We'll just name this bullet force, and then this will be 50. And then I think that's all we're going to do for the bullet for now. So we can go inside of to go ahead and make an update function, and then we're also going to make a public enumerator, and then this enumerator can be called fire, shoot, whatever you want. This is the actual function that will make the bullet fire. So we're going to get a game object, and we'll just name it bullet, and then this will be equal to instantiate, and what we will be instantiating will be the bullet prefab at the barrel position as well as the barrel rotation. After you have that, in order for this bullet to actually move and not just fall straight through the map, we're going to assign a rigid body to it. This is actually needed, so again, it doesn't just fall right through the ground as soon as you shoot. So rigid body is equal to bullet, and then we'll just get component and rigid body. Okay, after the rigid body, we're going to do add force, and this is where you're shooting from. So we will be shooting from the barrel, and the direction that we want it to go will be forward. So we will make sure that it is going forward, and then we will multiply that by the bullet force, and then we will make the force mode an impulse, so it's going straight out. As you can see, the impulse is just an instant force that impulses from the rigid body and using its mass. If you wanted to try something else, you could, but I found impulse being the best one so far. After you do that, we want to make it so once you shoot, the bullet eventually gets destroyed, because if it does not destroy, it will just keep going on forever and ever, and it will cause the game to be laggy. So we're just going to do a yield, return new, wait for seconds, and we'll just wait for 1 second, and then after 1 second, we're just going to destroy the bullet. And then I believe that's all we need for that function. And then so inside, we're going to do if input get key down, and then keycode dot mouse 0. Mouse 0 is for the left click on your mouse, and then we will just start coroutine, and we will put fire. Now keep in mind that this is for single shots basically, so if you want like a pistol, for example, you would put get key down, and then you would have to keep clicking your mouse. If you wanted a submachine gun or an AR, you would just do get key. Get key allows you to hold the left on the mouse, and it will just instantly rapid fire. But for this, I'm just going to show you with a pistol, basically. So now that we have that, let this load. And we're just going to assign this bullet to the player. Now inside of it, all we need to do is drag in our barrel, and then it says we need a bullet prefab. So if you go to your assets, right click, create folder, we can do prefab, and then we're just going to right click on our hierarchy, come down to 3D object, and then we'll just do sphere. We will make this 0.1 on the X, Y, and Z. And then we will move this over just to see if this fits well for the weapon. It should. Click on it. And then, yeah, that looks like it would fit well, and it doesn't look like it's being weird. Okay. Yeah, it fits well in there. Okay, so that's a good size. After that, you can just go over here and you can name this bullet. And then we'll just give a tag bullet. Again, if you don't have it, just click on add tag and create it. Then we're just going to drag this bullet inside of our prefab. And then you can go ahead and remove it from there. Go back to your player. And then just drag this bullet prefab inside of there. Once you have that all set up, on side of your bullet, you're going to come down here and just type in hit detection. And now we can just double click this, and this is our hit detection. This is pretty simple. For your hit detection, all you're going to do is on collision enter and do if collision.gameObject.tag is equal to bullet, actually not bullet, enemy. Then we would do destroy object collision.gameObject. And then if you want to, you can do like a debug bug saying hit enemy or destroyed enemy, whatever you want. So hit enemy. Pretty simple. Another thing that you need to do on your bullet prefab is add a rigid body. You do not have to mess with any settings, just make sure it's set like that. And then you should be all set. Let me just double check, make sure I signed everything. That's all good. And then the prefab, this has everything that it needs. Okay, so now if we run this, you should be able to look around as well as shoot your weapon. So let me just full screen. So here I am, I'm looking around. My mouse is hidden, and if I shoot, it destroys my enemies. And again, you see how it's falling like very fast. So if you want to increase that and make the bullets go further, you can always change it. So if I did like 1, it would just fall. And then if I came over here and I did like 100, it would go much, much further. And then also if you look over here on the left in the hierarchy, notice how all these bullets are getting cloned, and then they're just destroying themselves after so long. Another thing, if you wanted to, you could always create a like an aim down sight. Well, not an aim down sight. It's like a crosshair. And it's really easy. You just come to UI and you can just click on image, and then for this you can just do 0.5 probably. That's probably too big. I'll do 30. And just mess around with the sizes and see, like what fits the best for you in your game. And now you see, like, if we move it, again, you just have to move it around some. So like my weapon's a little bit further to the right. So I would just go back to my canvas on my image, and then I would just make sure that I moved my image just a little bit more to the right. That way that it actually hits the target. Or you can move your weapon over to the left, whatever works for you. But yeah, this is a pretty basic and simple tutorial. If you wanted anything else or you're having any issues, just comment down below and I will try to get to it when I can. Um, if you would like to see further tutorials on player movement, enemy movement, or anything like that, just comment down below. The more you comment and the more you request, the more I will post. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.